at Freddy's 4, when it was announced, was a very, very big excitement in the FNAF community, like most announcements for the games. Matter of fact, FNAF 4 had some of the best sort of outcome of reactions to fans when it came to teasers and the trailer, and along with the actual game itself, unlike, unfortunately, FNAF 3. Now, of course, that doesn't exactly mean that's where the end of FNAF 4 had gone. Matter of fact, this isn't where the positivity ends either, because, well, it's pretty simple, because FNAF 4 was easily, in many people's opinions, including mine, to be the best of the franchise. Otherwise, people say FNAF 2, and some people even say FNAF 1, which, of course, everyone has their own opinions, right? Yeah. Although, of course, like I said, unlike FNAF 3, when we actually got the game, fans did not hate the game. I know a couple of people did, but it came to do with, like, the fact how it doesn't go into a certain resolution or something. I've seen a couple of those on Steam, and along with just some stupid trolls and stuff. Yeah, but aside from that, it was a massive success in the franchise, and it was where FNAF had hit one of its highest peaks ever. Well, aside from, well, the first game and Security Breach being the biggest and stuff in the FNAF fan universe, I guess. I guess you can call it universe, whatever. I'm Sir Plaster Uzumaki, and today I'm going to be talking about FNAF 4, and along with its most terrifying moments, so let's get into it. Alright, so like I said in the initial beginning, there had been a lot of hype for FNAF 4 when the first couple of teasers came out, along with the fact how we had hardly seen any reveals for the animatronics, which should be what we would have expected to be in a trailer, unlike some of the other trailers, teasers like the FNAF 2 teasers, where you would see the toy animatronics and the wizard animatronics. Although in this one we do see the nightmare animatronics, we don't see them completely. We don't see them in-game. They are completely custom. Well, all the teasers are custom, but a couple of them do have some gameplay in them. Although FNAF 4 did have its custom teasers, it also had a lot of analysis inside the teasers. Matter of fact, the Nightmare Foxy teaser was the number one. Well, let me explain, because in that one, in the Nightmare Foxy teaser, there were a lot of, hinting that the number 87 was everywhere, and along with 87 being in his eye. But of course, this hyped everyone up, because still then, in that time, we had no idea who did cause the bite of 87. It's still a wonder today of who did the bite of 87, or if it was Mangalo the whole time. Which I do find that likely, because, well, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it could also be the toy animatronics, which is also very high, but that's not important right now. What's important is FNAF 4. But of course, as you would know, the 87 teasers, the 87 in Foxy, in the Foxy teaser, all the 87 numbers had eventually changed to 83, henceforth taking place in 1983, and the timeline making FNAF 4 the earliest and first ever, for obviously the true prequel of the FNAF franchise, aside from FNAF 2 being the first prequel we've gotten. But of course, this isn't where it ends here, because eventually, when the trailer came out, this is when a lot of people had gone crazy for the game and had wanted it to come out very, very soon. Because, well, like I said, FNAF 4 had no disappointment at all. Well, a couple of people do say that it did, but like I said, it's due to, resolution and whatever stuff. Because we did see a lot of gameplay in that one, in the FNAF 4 trailer. I'd say just as much, if not more, than the FNAF 2 trailer, because the FNAF 2 trailer had a lot more cinematography. It was a lot more cinematic, while FNAF 4 was, straight to the point. Because at the end, which is something that we've seen all the time in every single trailer, well, except for FNAF 1, except it does kind of count as a jump scare, Bonnie is staring to the camera and then he just takes his mask off. This one is a Nightmare Bonnie jump scare, and then we see the amazing logo for FNAF 4, where the number 4 turns like a proper horror film. If you've seen Nightmare on Elm Street, then you would know what I'm talking about, like a proper horror film. That kind of, turning, like an old 80s, 90s, 70s slasher flick. which those are also one of my favorite horror movies as well, by the way. Which, of course, that's something else about this, is that FNAF 4, one of the scariest things about FNAF 4 is how it's a lot like a slasher movie, specifically A Nightmare on Elm Street, along with the theory that FNAF 4 is nothing but a dream. Which, of course, I don't believe in that theory. I think that FNAF 4 is indeed a real thing, and the sister location maps prove that. You go more into that. I'll do it once I start doing the deep dive into lore, starting with episode 1 that I promised 2 months ago that I never did. I'm sorry, okay? I have other stuff I need to do. Plus, school's up. Anyways. And you could expect something like this to be in, like, A Nightmare on Elm Street, with the fact how these nightmare animatronics don't look like they would be in the real world at all, although we do know the endoskeleton that's inside of them are indeed real, thanks to the books. So, more proof that FNAF 4 is indeed real. Although, like I said, it's a lot like Nightmare on Elm Street to many respects, because, like I said, it's so weird considering how Nightmare on Elm Street, you're in this house. The main place in Nightmare on Elm Street is a house. In FNAF 4, it takes place in a house, which, as a matter of fact, is probably the most terrifying thing that you could ever go through in a night, if you're being tormented, is in your own home, because your home is meant to be your safe place, where you are, well, safe, resided, and, okay, I don't even know if I'm using the word resided right. Let me know if I am. And downright just, it's your home. You should feel safe there, while in FNAF 4, it completely breaks all those rules, making you not want to be in your own home. And on top of that, one of the other scariest things about FNAF 4 is the fact how it brings back the childhood fears and nightmares that you would used to have as a kid. Like, you know, the good old monster under my bed with the freckles. Well, technically they're on your bed, but still counts. Or the monster in your closet. It brings back those horrible fears, and every time, and like that anxiety-inducing thing, like where a child is just looks out the door and is expecting to see like a monster or some person there to kidnap him or something. That kind of fear, that's what FNAF 4 brings back. But, of course, that's not where it ends, because, like I said, this was immediately a huge hype for the community. And here's the next thing, which is I'm going to be talking about the YouTubers. YouTubers like Dawko, Markiplier, and, of course, Jacksepticeye, and, I guess, popular MMOs, although he's more of a Minecraft YouTuber. They've played this game. I've seen many gameplays for it, especially Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and Dawko. And, of course, this is where Dawko actually started making official videos, or like gameplay videos that weren't just live streams, and he started posting them onto YouTube. And along with just many theories as well, while Markiplier, he was having a lot of trouble trying to retain his crown. Okay, keep his crown from being stolen from him, because, well, he's the king of Five Nights at Freddy's, after all. He made that very clear, and he will never lose. He will never lose the crown. Although, thanks to FNAF 4, he almost did. Yeah. Oh, which brings me to another thing that's terrifying about FNAF 4, which are the jump scares. Now, as much as jump scares like the ones in Sister Location, and of course, Sister Location, and FNAF 6, as much as they give you a lot more impact on the jump scare, FNAF 4 is all about listening. It forces you to put on your headphones and listen. It forces you to put the volume up to 100% just to listen to the breathing. It forces you to immerse yourself, while in all the other games before it, you literally didn't even need the headphones. You could just put it on speaker. You could literally just put it on speaker and you could be fine. You could play it normally. But with FNAF 4, it makes it super hard and makes it so you have to keep those rules of what Scott would expect. And of course, he knows that there's going to be YouTubers that don't do it, because there's some YouTubers that are babies that don't want to play FNAF 4 and are too scared to, despite the fact it's their favorite game of all time. Which is me. You can make fun of me for that. Alright, I don't care. It's true, though. But, of course, like I said, it's not where it ends here, along with the fact how FNAF 4 also has a pretty dark storyline. As much as FNAF 6 had a lot more darker in backstory, FNAF 4 had more of a darker ending than, well, storyline, because it ends with a bite. It ends with the Fredbear bite of 87. So, henceforth, it would give it a dark storyline. And a very sad ending, too, considering how our player character, who you all believed, and still believe, well, at least some people do, to be the FNAF 4 protagonist that we play as in the, survival segments. So, that's another thing that's pretty scary about FNAF 4, considering how the ending is just really dark and also really sad, considering how it wasn't even meant to be, well, I don't think Michael meant to do that to his brother, honestly. I don't think he meant to do that, you know. I mean, I do know it was meant to be a prank and all. I do know that he wouldn't have wanted to kill him. Or, well, maybe, but I don't think he did it on purpose. I don't think he did. I don't think he would have done that to Evan. I mean, I understand he was a bully at the time, but come on. Even if you're a bully to your own sibling, that doesn't mean you want to kill them. Why am I coughing all of a sudden? I need my vitamin water. Insert Minecraft drinking noise. I'm probably not going to remember that. If I don't, then you can make fun of me for that. I don't care. Anyways. But of course, like I said, it doesn't end there. Because FNAF 4 was such a masterpiece and such a success to the franchise that it literally caused, I guess you could say, terror amongst the FNAF fan base, with so many people that love the game to hate it, but not because of the game itself, but because the game is too scary. It's just so scary for them that they're too much of a chicken to play it. Like me. Although I do plan to play FNAF 4 whenever I can, but unfortunately I can't. But although I have played segments of it, so I can't say that I'm inexperienced. You cannot say that I'm inexperienced, okay? I have played FNAF 4 before. Oh, and this leads us to some of our final things that's great about FNAF 4, which leads to the number one most horrifying and best thing about FNAF 4, which is the animatronic reveal of Nightmare. Now, like I've said before in my other videos, back when they were crappy, and I would just record with my phone with the freaking camera app, and literally nothing else, and post it on YouTube. Yeah, that's what I used to do. Nightmare is a very underrated character, despite the fact how I've seen numerous SFM videos for him. It still doesn't make the fact how Nightmare himself is still a very underrated character, how hardly any YouTubers ever talk to him anymore, talk about him anymore. He's not, even Daco, who's really into the lore and even cares about little things like, you know, Shadow Freddy, Shadow Bonnie, things like that. Well, Shadow Bonnie's a lot more important than Shadow Freddy, but stuff like that. Although he hardly ever talks about Nightmare. Even in FNAF 4, when he was making all the theories, he didn't talk about anything in FNAF 4. Although I think I did see a video of him talking about what Nightmare could possibly be. Although I do, of course, like I said before, Nightmare is definitely something else. And I am going to say this, I am debunking my Nightmare theory on how it's Evan Afton, Michael Afton's younger brother. I am debunking that. I am completely debunking that theory, because it made some sense, but it made very little sense, because how can a child possibly get that much power and do all of that? I thought the logic made sense when I made the video, but now I only see that, oh no, this makes no sense at all. What was I thinking? So yeah, that was stupid. But anyways, Nightmare. We had no idea of who Nightmare was. We didn't see him in the teasers. The only thing that we saw closest to Nightmare was a Nightmare Fredbear teaser, but of course that was Nightmare Fredbear. And in the Nightmare Freddy teaser, when it said final chapter, it was just the word Nightmare. The word Nightmare was hidden in it, so that was obviously a hint that they were going to be called the Nightmare animatronics. But Nightmare, on the other hand, we had no idea who he was, what he was doing. The only animatronic that was closest to Nightmare were Nightmare Freddy and Nightmare Fredbear. But of course, unfortunately, there's a lot of people in the community that think that Nightmare is just Nightmare Fredbear's shadow when he's not. I don't think he is. They're completely different, for one. And for two, why would Scott just put Nightmare Fredbear's shadow and just take Nightmare Fredbear, make him black, and have, like, yellow assets? You know, yeah, like yellow accessories like the top hat and bow tie, if he has no purpose. Nightmare clearly has a purpose. And Ultimate Custom Night clearly proves that Nightmare and Nightmare Fredbear are completely different. They have a completely different voice, for example. Nightmare is a lot more deeper than Nightmare Fredbear's. Well, Nightmare Fredbear sounds more like, I don't know how to explain it, but they just sound completely different. And they're as much as the fact how they do have similar mechanics, where you would see them outside the door and you have to shut the doors and stuff, Nightmare is still a lot more aggressive and a lot more harder. Because you play him on literally Nightmare mode. The name itself says Nightmare mode. It has the word Nightmare in it. And that brings me to the end of, like, all the scary and, like, all the things about FNAF 4. Except I should probably be talking about another thing that's great about FNAF 4 is the Halloween edition. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the Curse of Dreadbear DLC in FNAF VR Help Wanted, although the first ever Halloween DLC similar thing we've ever gotten that was related to Halloween in any way was indeed FNAF 4 Halloween edition, which I'll be talking about that soon. So, that was it. Please subscribe if you can, and I'll see you the next time.